Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew with James Kirkland.
Powerful and provocative, prophetic and practical,
Have you ever found yourself?
Are you dating for that person?
informative and
I feel
inspirational.
every bit of that. Like, I'm not trying to waste my
How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do.
Intellectual stew.
Come on, let's talk about it with me, the mind massager.
Intellectual stew. Oh, we're cooking something true. Intellectual stew. Real raw and relevant. With James Kirkland guiding through the deep, the light, the old, the new intellectual stew. Yeah, we're stirring up the view.
I want to hear it one more time, y'all. One more time, okay? One more time. Y'all come in, say hi. Say cat, say dog, say boo, say something. Let me know you're there.
Intellectual stew. Real raw and relevant for you. With James Kirkland guiding through the deep, the light.
All right.
The old, the new intellectual stew.
I gotta get you to cut it off.
Yeah, we're stirring up the view.
All right, let me stop. All right, what's up? What it do? Time for another episode. What's up, Viola? I ain't seen my girl in a minute. I wasn't on, so I guess you couldn't support me if I wasn't on, was. But what's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. Thank you, whoever that was that just liked the live. I appreciate you. If you all could do that, I'd appreciate it. If you could like it, and if you could share it, we will get into our conversation on tonight. Man, we had a great conversation on last week. I had Ray Evans and Dwayne Dwyer on with me, and we discussed who taught us to suffer in silence. We talked about how African-American men oftentimes fail to emote, and it's not an event, but it is a process. It's something that has transpired over time. We have written unwritten rules that were established that were never ever written, but somehow we decided to abide by those rules. And for some reason, we failed to emote. So last week, we had Dwayne Dwyer and Ray Evans on, and they shared their convictions. And as I tell you all the time, I don't give you right or wrong answers. I just try to give you relevant answers. I try to give you something that fits. But let's look at one of the clips from last week before we get into next week. This is Dwayne Dwyer. When you come in, do two things for me. Number one, say hi. Say hi. Let me know where you're listening from. And number two, share this thread. But this is a clip from last week, and then we'll get into the conversation for this week in a minute. And I want to get y'all's opinion on this song a new song I got. But here, this is Dwayne from last week. Check this clip out.
Look at parents, grandparents, so forth and so on. They literally taught what they knew, and what they knew wasn't centered around emotional intelligence. It wasn't centered around spiritual intelligence. It wasn't centered around how to create a family to where you have the ability to have open communication, teaching both the boy child and the girl child the ability to communicate effectively, but doing so in a very tactful and respectful manner.
All right, so that was Dwayne from last week. Now that was a good response. Hey, what's up, Brad? Hey, what's up, Bradley? Man, I got to get you on the show, bro. I appreciate you for following. Cynthia, what's up, lady? Cynthia. Are you in Marietta? Okay, good, Bradley. Viola, that's my girl there. Hey, Kimala. Kimala is a celebrity. We got her on tonight, so we appreciate her. Let me get one more clip from last week, and then we're gonna go into this week. Okay, one more clip, and we'll move. Dwyer, from the practical side of life, let me ask you a question. How does emotional silence affect men day to day?
I appreciate and I'm gonna go a little far left if you don't mind. I appreciate the topic of emotional silence, but I like to call it more so along the lines of emotional constipation.
It is.
And
I'm gonna let you, y'all can go back and watch that on your own. I'm joking. I'm ready to get into this lesson on tonight. All right, but yeah, check out last week's class if you or last week's podcast. If you didn't check it out, let's y'all go back and check it out. If you have not liked or hearted this post, if you have not shared this post, please, ma'am, please, sir, share it right now. I've already let the cat out of the bag, so you see what we are discussing tonight. I've already let the cat out of the bag. To build on last week's podcast, and I'm sharing right now myself. We're going to talk about I broke my silence. Now what? I broke my silence. I broke my own unwritten rule. I decided to trust you with this secret or whatever was suppressing me, whatever was holding me down. I decided to trust you with that. Now what? So here we go. This is we start over. What's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew, where we spark everyday conversation. Listen, tonight is going to be one of those conversations, right? Like last week, we talked about who taught us how to suffer in silence, and that thing hit real different. Got kind of emotional last week. It was really good. I had people calling me saying, "Man, I'm not going to get on here and talk about crying." You don't have to get on here and talk about crying, but you can get on here. We can talk. But what we did was we unpacked how a lot of us were raised to hold it in. We were raised to be strong, and what be strong really meant was be quiet. And for many, especially Black men, and I see a lot of sisters are following along this suit as well, we were taught, deal with it, don't talk about it. We talked about how last week, how silence was cultural, it was learned, it was passed down. And the truth is, a lot of us didn't even realize that we were suffering. Because you know why? Silence felt normal. But here's a reality check. Nearly 1 in 5 adults struggle with mental health. Men are less likely by a significant number to go and seek help when they're dealing with mental health issues. And in our community, that number gets even higher. So yeah, we've been carrying a lot. But here's the shift. Last week, we talked about staying silent. Tonight, we're going to talk about what happens when you finally stop being silent. So the question becomes, I broke my silence. Now what? And let me say this. Tonight is open mic night. Tonight is open mic night. You see the phone number right there, 404-860-2775. You can call in and share if you've ever been in a situation where you held your silence, to keep the peace. Pastor Evan said something that was so powerful last week. He said he was married for 30 years. He said, but for a lot of those years, he wouldn't talk because he knew that the conversation was what the conversation would lead to. And so if you start that behavior pattern, if you start, and notice I said pattern, or you can call it a rhythm, or you can call it a dance. But once you start that rhythm, when you start that pattern, then it becomes a learned behavior. It becomes a learned behavior. So tonight is open mic night. The phone is on. If you want to come on video, say, James, send me the video. Send me the link for video. I don't mind you coming on. Come on, have a conversation with me. So that means tonight is not just a show, but this is a conversation. This is a space. If you've ever said, I'm not okay. If you've ever said, I've been holding this in, or I need to get this out, tonight is your night. And this is a safe space, 404-860-2775. All I'm asking that you do is share this thread, because somebody else might need to hear this tonight, and also like it. Now I see at least 10 people watching, but only 4 people have reacted. If I can get all of y'all just to react and share, then we can possibly double this conversation, and we can help some people tonight. We can really, really help some people tonight. So let's get started. If you all want to have this conversation, drop a chat bubble in the comments. If you're rocking with me tonight, drop a chat bubble. For you older people, go in, when you go in your emojis, hit search, and then hit chat bubble, and then I'm joking, but drop that chat bubble in the chat for me tonight if y'all are ready to have this conversation. Okay, Viola says she's ready to have the conversation. Anybody else ready to have that conversation? Drop that chat bubble in there. So, and if you're ready, like I said, you can join the show. All right, I got 5 now, so about 4 more, we'll catch up. Yeah, if you're, yeah, okay, Cynthia says she's ready for it. If you're ready, you can join the show, and you could come on and you could tell your truth. And listen, this is a safe space. Nobody's going to debate you. You might have to watch me to keep me my eyeballs from sweating, because sometimes I internalize what people go through. That's why y'all be careful. Some of y'all bring stuff to me in my inbox, and y'all bring it early in the morning. Then I got to carry that weight all day long. All right, Patty McGee, yeah, let's have that conversation. And I got to carry that stuff all day long. Now, I'm gonna try to read your comments, but when y'all leave paragraphs, it's harder for me to read that, especially when I'm on here by myself and nobody else is like engineering for me. But let me read Charlotte's comment right quick. James, in past history, men were taught that men shouldn't show emotions because they're supposed to be the strongest individuals. Hold on. The strongest individuals, old history teach. Absolutely. And we talked about that a lot last week. Thank you for that, Charlotte. Absolutely. All right. So yeah, I got a few people who said, Patty said she was ready. Cynthia said she was ready. Viola said she was ready. Okay, I think that's enough. All right. So let's start here. Let's talk about the truth about speaking up. Let's discuss the truth about speaking up, because nobody really prepares you for what happens after you speak up. Right. Because see, it would seem like when you spoke up, it would be like, release day. If you were in prison, and this is your day, or you in jail, and you were, just say locked up, or you were sick, or something along the line. For me, I'll use me. For 8-9 days, I laid on my stomach because my sciatic nerve was killing me. Man, I was in pain, right? But then eventually the pain began. All right, Bradley said he's ready to have the conversation too. Good. But eventually, Bradley, that pain subsided, right? And whereas I could only walk from here to the kitchen without my ankle feeling like it was going to flare up, eventually I got a chance to walk outside, and then I got in the car and drove, and it would hurt while I drove down the road. I couldn't even hardly rest my ankle on the ground. It was so heavy. But a few days later, the pain started to subside, right? Because it was an instant, just all of a sudden that change gradually. What was gradual started to feel instant, right? But because I felt a release, the pain doesn't feel this. I can get in the car now. I couldn't sit on my backside then. Now I can sit on my backside. Things have started to change. If I tell my truth, something that has been ailing me, something that I have been holding on, something that I have internalized, because I told you last week, sometimes internalization creates inflammation. It causes things to start to happen on the inside of our bodies because we internalize things so much. The things that we go through psychologically end up affecting us physiologically. Does that make sense? So after I tell my truth, after I speak my truth, after we say speak your truth, or we say don't hold it in, nobody tells us that it doesn't automatically change. It doesn't automatically fix everything. That's what it seems like would happen if I told my truth, right? I've been holding on to this pain. I've had a trauma that has been embedded in me since I was a child, in my childhood, and it made me pick up certain attachment styles, and it affects how I love my partner. It affects how I raise my children. It affects all of these things. And then I look back down memory lane and I realize that I've been dealing with this issue and I've held it inside. And then I go to the counselor, or I go to my best friend, or I go to the pastor, and I tell them everything, but nothing changes. Children still mad. Everybody that I hurt in the past is still holding on to that hurt. I mean, I didn't even realize, and I'm speaking I'm speaking metaphorically right now, but I didn't even realize that I was dealing with this issue. I didn't even realize I had this issue, and because I didn't realize I had the issue, I never isolated the issue, and because I never isolated the issue, I never could fix the issue. But because I've come on and I've shared my truth, I expect everything to change. But guess what? Sometimes it don't fix it, and I got to be prepared for that. Because let me tell you this right here. Let me tell you this. After you speak up and nothing changes, after you open up and life keeps lifing, and that can feel real discouraging. Somebody agree with me? Just raise your hand in the chat. Am I the only one that's ever felt that before? Just raise your hand in the chat. You told the truth. You told your truth, right? I mean, I had a homie last week. He told me he went to the doctor. He went to the doctor. Had high blood pressure. And whatever it was that was causing his blood pressure to go up. And then some part of it was the stressors in his home, right? Some of the stressors in his house. And he came back and he told his wife, he said, I got to watch my blood pressure because stress helps me go up. And part of the things that I go through in the house are affecting me. She began to argue with him. She argued about, see that's the thing, Viola. That's the thing, Craig, that messes me up, Charlotte, because here the reality is most of us, even in social media, we argue over opinions. We argue over opinions, right? And so my opinion, what you eat don't make me excrete. I wanted to say something else, but I'm trying to stay safe. I'ma stay safe. Yeah. What you eat, real talk, doesn't make me excrete. So if we have a difference of opinions, that's okay. So if I have my own opinion, I can have my own truth. And we can have, Bradley, we can have two separate truths, right? Charlotte, we can have two separate truths. Viola, I've seen you. Your truth is not my truth. You wear some nice gym shoes. I know you're a sneakerhead, right? But if you wear a size 6 or a 7, that's your truth. Now, I'm not a sneakerhead. I prefer dress shoes and things of that nature. But I wear a size 12. That's my truth. So when I share my truth that I wear a size 12, it doesn't affect anything about your truth. So when a person shares their truth, or when you share your truth, you expect everybody to identify or to acquiesce or to pick up on it or immediately forgive you. It doesn't always help. In fact, the reality exists. Expressing emotions helps long-term mental health, but it doesn't always bring immediate relief. Does that make sense? Expressing emotions helps long-term mental health, but it doesn't always. Did somebody call me tonight? I missed a phone call. I look like somebody tried to call. If you tried to call in and I missed you, call back. Yeah. Expressing emotional help. Expressing emotions helps long-term mental health, but it doesn't always bring immediate relief. Some people say, I said it, so why don't I feel better? You ever been there? I mean, have you ever done something? You were in a hole, you were in a bad spot, and you thought if you just said one thing, that one thing could fix it. Tell the truth. It doesn't always bring immediate relief. If this is your truth, do me a favor. If you've ever opened up and still felt heavy, just type those 2 words in the comment. Type still heavy. Type still heavy. Type still heavy. And if you called in and I missed your phone call, I'm sorry. I didn't hear it. Let me turn the volume up on this computer because obviously I don't have it up loud enough. Oh, it is up. No. All right. Hopefully you call back. All right. Still heavy. Okay. Viola said, yeah, you've expressed it. I appreciate you for your everybody else. Y'all got it going on. I feel y'all. I mean, Pam says she's still heavy too. Okay. Not all of us got it going on. Whew, I'm glad. But I'm glad if y'all's mental health is that solid, man, where nothing bothers you, like you sleep every night and all that kind of stuff, man, hey, kudos, high fist to you, whatever. But me, for real, still happy. Still heavy, still heavy. There have been times that I shared my truth and I wished and hoped that everything would be fixed in that moment, right? Even when even I mean my Viola and I are childhood friends. We go back to elementary school. So she knows me, like knows me. So we talk, and the thing that has hurt me the most in my life over the last 53 years, especially the last 10, was my divorce. I mean, my divorce. And there were even when she came and tried to and told me she was leaving, right? Still heavy, but overcoming. I love that, Bradley. I thought that because I had such a good talk game, I've been a salesman all my life. I've been preaching now for 30 plus years. I thought I could talk her out of it, right? I mean, I fell on the sword, man. I told everything. I tried my best to get her to stay, but I told everything. Guess what? At the end of it all, I was still heavy. Still had to deal with the truth, because what I did everybody's not moved by what I'm going through or what I've gone through. So the first thing we got to do when we start telling our truth is that's the truth about speaking up. But here it is. And if you all have not shared this or not liked this, please do. I'm gonna stop begging y'all though, for real. And also, if you want to support the show, there's a Cash App right there, and that QR code on the other side, that is that's for my website. I want you all, if you all have not checked out the website, if you have not, we don't agree. What is it that we don't agree about, Charlotte? Is it something I need to know? I didn't realize it was something we ain't. Are you harboring something towards me that I? You know, you put that ball on the tee, I'm gonna swing. But no, I didn't realize we had nothing going on. I apologize. I love you too. The same. But yeah, check out my website if you haven't seen. That's the QR code on the other side there. So if you all want to support the show, do that. But here's the question. And I think, Bradley, you can help me with this because you're the only man that's communicating right now. And I appreciate that about you. Craig, if you're there still, you can help me with this as well. Because we talked about last week how we developed this unwritten rule about suffering in silence, right? And we talked about why a lot of people don't break their silence. And I think this right here might be one of the reasons why men don't break their silence. You know what that is? It's because the question is, can I trust you with my truth? Let that question land for a minute. If you have a truth that you've been suppressing, I'm going to read that in 1 second, Patty. If you have a truth that you have been suppressing and you really want to tell, but you don't tell, could the reason be the reason why you're not telling is because you're not sure if you could trust everybody with your truth? Patty says, I was once stuck in silence about being a young, unwedded mother for many years until I started sharing my truth with people who didn't know I was much older than I was with grown sons. Has helped me to feel free to be me, knowing that others judge me. God still loves me and support. Amen. Absolutely. And we sit on those types of truths because, I mean, there's nothing worse than the mind cuffs that we place on ourselves. There's nothing worse than the mental blocks and the mental glass ceilings that we put on ourselves. I mean, their condemnation is a horrible tool, right? Even though Romans 8 says that there is therefore now no condemnation, we still have a way of condemning ourselves, right? We have a way of looking in the mirror and thinking the worst about. I hear you in your Jack Nicholson voice too. Of thinking the worst about ourselves. I mean, and it's crazy. And the thing is, it's things that we haven't forgiven ourselves for that God has forgiven us for like a long time ago, right? Because whatever we've done is already, I mean, he died for sins present, sins past, and sins future. But for some reason, we love to put ourselves, but that doesn't mean we use grace as a license to sin. But as we start to do better, right? As we start to do better, then we got to realize that it's cool. What you say about Viola said, I think some suffer in silence. Y'all can come on here and read and talk to me. I promise you I won't bite. But Viola said, I think some suffer in silence because when you speak your truth, you are judged or made to be the problem. And yes, trust plays a part. Absolutely. So here's the question. can I trust you with my truth? Because let me say this. Viola, can I tell him? I'm gonna go and tell him. Bradley, I'm gonna go ahead and tell him. Can I tell him? You can't trust everybody with your truth because everybody's not safe. If some people don't have the capacity, don't have the maturity, here it is. Some people don't have the empathy to handle your truth. Can I say that again? Some people don't have the capacity. They don't even have the depth. I'm learning now, Bradley, that certain people I just don't have conversations with because I don't hang out in kiddie pools. I can't. It don't do me no good just to walk around in the kiddie pool. For what? If I'm going to swim, I need to get it. I need to swim in something that I can submerge. That's over my head. And some people that you talk to, the shallowness is, if that's a word, it's like walking. So they don't have the capacity to handle my truth. Some people don't have the maturity. Bradley, man, I got testimonies that I can't even tell because everybody's not mature enough, especially church folk, because we're so judgmental. That's the part we picked up, the legalistic side of it, right? That we tried to hold on to of Christianity. That ain't the Christianity that, that y'all be talking about that the white folk taught us and all that. That ain't, never mind, let me leave it off. But some people don't have the capacity, they don't have the maturity, and they don't have the empathy. They can't even, if they can't sympathize with you, what makes you think they're going to empathize with you? And see, empathy means I'm placing myself in, see, I can relate to Viola because Viola has lost a parent. I've lost a parent. So we can relate on that level. Somebody who has never lost a parent, they might use that blanket statement, I'm praying for you. But man, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes that if you have not felt that, if you have not felt the angst of losing a mom or losing something, then you really can't empathize with it. You can imagine what it feels like, but imagination and empathy are two totally different things. Some people don't have the empathy to handle your truth. And so therefore they will invalidate what you're going through. They'll sympathize it. I was talking to somebody today. I'm joking with this part, but I told them I had a podcast tonight. And they said, oh, let me see it. Let me hear about your little podcast. Little podcast. And they were like, I'm just joking. No, don't you? Ain't nothing little. Don't call my podcast little. But even though they didn't mean any harm, I couldn't allow them to invalidate what I put 4 or 5 years into. That I showed up every Monday for a long time, making sure that I had something, and it's showing up now. Brad, let me tell you what happened last week. I'm being honest. And I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this with it. I'm gonna share this, and he doesn't mind it. Well, it's a he now. Y'all know he doesn't. But anyway, I sometimes I get discouraged because my following. And I think it should be farther along now. I think I should have more people, but I don't. But I have some quality people, right? And and I was telling y'all about how I was going through my sciatic nerve issue, and it was killing me. It was killing me. And I couldn't work. And I've been unemployed since September, but I might be unemployed, but I know how to get money. I sell a couple of insurance policies, I work, I know how to get money, and more than average. So, that's not, I know I'm going to live. I'm going to always know that I'm going to always be all right because, I learned how to seek the kingdom. And when you seek the kingdom, everything else is added unto you. I'm good in that area. Right. But for 2 weeks, I couldn't work. I couldn't leave the house, and I don't have a salary. I didn't have anything, and rent's coming up, that's almost $2,000. And I don't ask nobody for anything. That's just not what I do. I don't ask, I'm not a beggar. I don't do that. But anyway, one of my followers, I've never met him in person, or anything of the sort. We live in totally different states, but we were on a phone call and we started talking, and he had heard my story, and he said, "Hey, bro, big bro, when this is over with," he said, "I got a little lump sum coming this week, man, and I'm gonna bless you if it's okay." I said, "Well, man, you ain't got to bless me because I can't even afford to pay it back." He said, "Who asked you to pay anything back?" I said, "Okay." Now I ain't gonna lie, I kind of took it with a grain of salt, because I've been promised things before that didn't happen, so I'm kind of used to that. That's probably one of my childhood traumatic situations. But Thursday came, and it wasn't even 8 a.m., Bradley, and I look at my Zelle, and it was $1,000. It was $1,000, and I'm like, who is this from? I ain't even, because but rents do, and I don't know, but it was $1,000, and I look up and then it didn't have the name on it, it had a business, but I didn't know who it was, and lo and behold, I just get a text that, man, love you, bro. And you got the nerve to call this a little podcast, like it's not affecting people. Or the other night, I'm sitting in the house, and Bradley and one of the young lady I've been knowing a very long time, but I don't ask people for anything. But all of a sudden, she called and she said, "Hey, what's your Cash App? Is it still the same?" I'm half asleep. I'm tired. I'm on medication. I'm half asleep. I said, "Yeah, but let me holler back at you real fast." And I said, and all of a sudden, I wake up the next morning, I see $80, and I don't. 80 is, that's the seed that I think seeds are specific. So if somebody gives you an amount, I think that God laid that on their heart for a reason, right? And if He laid it on their heart, and that blessed me. It blessed me. And it lets me know that my work is not in vain. It lets me know that even if it's not a lot of people listening, there are some people listening. So there's no way I can let her get away with invalidating my podcast by saying that your little podcast. No, ain't nothing little. Thank you, sir, about God. Ain't nothing little about impact, right? It might be small, but it could have major impact, right? Like, never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone. But anyway, sometimes when you share when you break your silence and you share your truth, then someone will invalidate your response. Adrian, what happens is when people invalidate your response, invalidating responses can lead to increasing emotional distress. When you finally decide to break your silence and you decide that you are going, hey, Sue Ann, love you, girl. And you decide you're going to break your silence, and you decide you're going to share your truth, right? And you try to trust this individual with your truth, and then they mess around and invalidate your response. That makes your emotional distress worse, because you know what people say? They say, man, I wish I wouldn't have ever said anything. I wish I wouldn't have said anything. Because you know why they feel that way? Because they got judged, or they got minimized, or this is the one I hate. I'm gonna start crying. This the one I hate. This the one I hate. When people take your truth and use it against you. Here it is. Have you ever felt misunderstood after you finally trusted somebody and opened up? You finally trust them. If you've ever felt misunderstood, type misunderstood in the comments. Type misunderstood. I promise I really don't like oppression. People who are oppressors, who use their leverage or their position. Y'all type misunderstood. If that's your testimony, like it was mine. If someone has ever judged you, there you go, Bradley. You got minimized, or someone used their truth against you. If you've ever felt misunderstood after opening up, type misunderstood. Yeah. Listen, the phone number's right there. If you all want to come in. Listen, I got 14 people. I need a break. I ain't gonna lie, cause I just hit a trigger a minute ago, y'all. I'm sorry. Ugh. I just hit a trigger. So listen, this is my song, one of my new songs I just put together. I'm gonna let y'all listen to this for about 30 seconds, and I'm gonna get myself together and give me. But 15 people listen, but only 9 have liked it, and I want to know I hope everybody shared it. Y'all check that out. I'm going to play this little. I wanted to put me a little rap song. I told him to put me a little 90s vibe, a little 90s West Coast vibe on it. But y'all check out my little rap song. Hold on, here it is right here. Watch this. And I'll be right back. I promise I will.
Yeah. What's up? What it do? Time for another episode. Let's ride now. Slide through the city with the mindset clean. James on the mic, yeah, he cooking that dream. Intellectual stew, got the wisdom on deck. Feeding minds daily, got him watching what's next. From the couch to the climb, yeah, the journey got weight. Turn pain into purpose, now we moving in faith. West Coast breeze, but the message stay deep. Plant seeds in the soul, now the whole world reap. Real talk, no gimmicks, just truth in the booth. Break chains off the mind, let it loose, let it loose. From the block to the pulpit, yeah, the vision aligned. Got a word for the people, transformation in time. We stewing up knowledge, let it simmer real slow. West Coast vibe with a spiritual flow. From the struggle to the strategy, now you know the name. James got the heat, put respect on the game. We rise, we grow, let the whole world see. Turn a thought to a move, now you walking free. It's the intellectual story, yeah, we changing the view. If you ready for better, this is made for you. Cruising down purpose lane, top down, no fear. Every word hit different when the vision stay clear. Mental health talk, yeah, we breaking the code. Heavy hearts get light when the truth get told. Single mind, strong kings, yeah, we all in the mix. Building minds up strong, that's a...
All right, what y'all think about that? All right, I'm back now. I almost they did you well. I appreciate that, man. I'm using that AI stuff. I said Al Crater. Al Crater, that's my dude right there, y'all. Al Crater used to we're from Little Rock together. We went to college together. And Al had a major jump shot. He used to get on my nerves. Him and Carlos and who else was on that team? They'd walk across half court and just let it go. Yeah, I mean, just let it go. But anyway, Al, you got me having a flashback right now. And this was an intramurals, but we had some really good intramural basketball teams though back then. All right, let's get back into it. Y'all like my song? I see some of y'all saying y'all like it. Yeah, that's yeah, I like that. You heard my listen, I put it in there, man. I put my little lyrics together. I wish I could rap for real, but I can't. All right, so let's continue the conversation. Let's talk about the emotional aftermath. After you break your silence, how do you feel? Let me ask some of y'all before I make some suggestions. After you broke your silence, I saw somebody, Cynthia Smith said it earlier, but after you break your silence, how do you feel? Ladies, Cynthia said, yes, it causes you not to want to share again because people weaponize it. How does it make you feel? You like it so and cool. How does it make you feel? Do you, when you share your truth, when you finally broke down, you broke your silence and, you started to trust people again, how did it make you feel when you broke your silence and then they invalidated you? Did you feel exposed? You feel exposed, right? That's why, in this dating thing, you don't give everything up on the first date. You kind of drop some breadcrumbs, because you expose, you drop everything right at once. There's nothing left. But when you've gotten naked, and I'm using a metaphor there, when you've gotten naked, when you've come clean and you've shared your truth, that thing that you were silent about for all of those years, that you didn't want to, that you had allowed to internalize and cause inflammation in your body, you finally broke down. Did you feel vulnerable? Did you feel exposed? I'm gonna tell you what I felt sometimes after telling my truth, and it's just me talking. I felt regret. Like, I shouldn't have told that. Because now that I've told it, they know. And when Pops used to say something that was real powerful. You felt somewhat vulnerable. Pops say people don't. Pops would say people don't know how dumb you are until you open your mouth. So once you open your mouth, you have to be very. I got an uncle, Chuck. I hope you listen, because I'm sure I'm calling your name out on this. Chuck, my uncle Chuck, he's from Chicago and he moved to Pine Bluff. We used to hang out in the summertime, and his mama would buy him all Jordan stuff, Nike shorts, Nike t-shirts, Air Jordan, everything was Nike. And Chuck looked like he could ball, boy. I mean, Chuck looked like he could play some basketball, boy. But Chuck couldn't play no basketball. But whenever we got on the court, Chuck would be the first one to get picked. But once he got picked, Bradley, he got exposed. So you can look the part all you want to, but once you open your mouth, once you get into the game, once people really find out, your mother from Pine Bluff, all right. Yeah, my mother used to live in Pine Bluff, but we still have plenty of family there. But once you're exposed, and once you share your truth, you start thinking, why did I say that? You start thinking, I should have just kept that to myself. And this is the dangerous moment, because this is where people usually retreat. And when they retreat before they're healed. They're not healed, they're just hurt again. And if you're like me, you just gotta, I share my truth because it's the only one I know. But like even when I wrote my book, Stuck on the Couch, and when I got up, that was a good season after I got up off the couch. But when I got off the couch and then eventually went into the bedroom, I didn't heal. I just got hurt again. When I got hurt again, then I went to suppress the pain the only way I knew how. And the way I knew how was to retreat, to go into myself until I felt like presenting myself again. Cynthia said, I went to a women's conference years ago and shared my truth in a small group. That thing beat me back to Dalton. Wow. Only one person from Dalton in the group. I shut down for years after that. And it'll make you happy. Okay, Holly Grove. Okay. Yeah, I got family from Holly Grove too. That's what happened though. When people are irresponsible with your truth, that's why I'm very cautious. But I thank God that people trust me. That God has given me that responsibility where people trust me to tell me certain things. I had somebody call me yesterday and told me some deep stuff. I mean, some really, 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 really deep stuff. And it's a pastor. He was like 80 years old. And I said, "What made you tell me that?" He said, "I don't know." Hey, Brandy, you welcome to join the conversation as well. The phone number is there, and also I can drop the link in the chat if anybody wants to link. But I said, "What made you tell me that?" But God has placed me in people's lives, and He's trusted me with their truths. Suanne, we've been knowing each other quite a while. I don't run and tell everybody's business because that's a responsibility. That's why even when I preach, I'm very cautious because I'm afraid of somebody taking what I say, misusing or to misrepresent it, and then going. I don't want to ever be. I know the responsibility that God has given me and how He's placed me in people's lives strategically. So I dare not be irresponsible. That's the word I was looking for. I dare not be irresponsible with the truth that has been entrusted unto me. But everybody ain't like me. Some people will take your truth, turn it against you, invalidate it, and try to make you feel small, make it feel like you've missed. Talk to me for a minute. Let me ask you a question. And you ain't got to be a Cancer to answer this question. I'm a Cancer. July 6th is my birthday. Hint, hint, hint. And if y'all want to give me an early birthday gift, they're my Cash App. I'm joking. But if you've ever gone back into your shell, do me a favor. Just drop a lock in the chat. Just drop a lock. Say, yeah, I locked myself up. I sentenced myself. Even though I'm delivered. Now, see, what helped me more than anything, Randy, what helped me more than anything, Bradley, is when I delivered myself from people. Once I finally got out of the people-pleasing business, and I'm going to say this, saints. But this is a metaphor. I'm going to say this, saints, but this is a metaphor. All right, Cynthia, thank you for following instructions. This is a metaphor. I've learned that my stress level has gone down the more my middle finger goes up. That's a metaphor. I don't walk around. I'm not aggressive. I ain't sticking my middle finger up at people. I'm not doing that. But when I develop that attitude of, that's it. That now when I do that to you, if we're ever in the same setting and you saying something that I'm not necessarily agreeing with, or you getting on my nerves, and I do you like this, my stress level just went down. Ooh, Lord, my stress level just went down. The moment I look at you, Cynthia, and I say, because you just said something, and whether you know it or not, you crossed a boundary. And see, people respond to crossing a boundary. Some people, people put up alarms, they put up, fences, electric wire, or they might put up a bear trap, or, they might, put up a, any type of alarm. But with me, when you do me like that, I'm going to say, yeah, real talk. Because I can't let you have that on me. I can't let you have that on me. I can't let you have that on me. I can't let you have. Before we go any further, I need to add a little flavor to the show. Listen, my mother, she passed away 3 years ago, but of course her presence is still with me. And my mother is Karen LaRue Kirkland. She'll forever be my mother. Forever be my mother. So now that I've been in this podcast, in this AI space, I've learned how to build digital avatars and all these things. I decided to create my own personal co-host. And my personal co-host is my mother. Her name is LaRue. Now, I'm going to put up a image or an avatar. Now, this is not supposed to be my mother, but this is the message. I want y'all to hear what she says, and then we'll discuss what she says for just a quick moment. Here you go.
Hey, take a breath with me for a second. Just because you spoke your truth doesn't mean everything around you is going to change overnight. And yeah, sometimes it won't. But hear me, you didn't speak up to change them. You spoke up to free you. Holding it in, that was heavy. Carrying that silence, that was draining. But when you released it, you gave yourself room to heal, so don't go backwards. Don't shrink now. Keep telling your truth. Keep showing up. Because even if nothing else changes, you did. And that right there, that's where your freedom begins.
Ah! Did you hear what that's thank you, LaRue. I appreciate you that, Miss LaRue. That's LaRue giving us some ingredients for the day. That's her talking to us, man. She said, don't expect things to change because you shared your truth. Because the truth of the matter is, you didn't share your truth for them. You shared your truth for you. Because when you shared your truth, it was a different kind of freedom. You were released. Somebody said it earlier. Who was it? Adrian said it earlier. Adrian, let me go find what Adrian's comment. Adrian said it earlier. She said, I still felt relieved, like the pressure was off. That's maturity. Thank you, Adrian. That's maturity. Thank you, Mama. Mama speaking from heaven. LaRue said, it ain't for them. You're not speaking your truth. Do you realize that when you hold or you harbor resentment, hatred, holding all those secrets, failing to emote, as David Dwyer said last week, you are going through what he calls spiritual constipation because you haven't let it out? That's a different type of heaviness. Same thing as forgiveness, like Randy said. You don't forgive them for them, you forgive them for you. You don't forgive, let me say that with me. I don't forgive them for them. I forgive them for me. I need that release. I need my fire to burn smoothly. The fire that's on the altar of my heart, I need it to burn smoothly and uninhibitedly. I don't need any ashes on my altar. Come here, Cynthia. Cynthia, come on to the stage. Cynthia said, it's like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. I'm killing myself. And half the times, they've gone on with their lives. They've moved on. But I'm still sitting over here mad about something that happened 14, 15, 18 years ago. But Miss LaRue said, my mama, she said it's a different type of heaviness. But when you release it, because here it is, watch this, here it is. Here it is. Once I share my truth, you can do what you want to with it. I'm done. I love playing spades, but I don't get a choice of the cards I get. They deal them. And when they deal them, Kim, I look up, I got 13 cards. And I put the hearts with the hearts, I put the spades with the spades, I put the diamonds with the diamonds, I put the clubs with the clubs, and I try to make a hand out of it. And that's what happens in life. When I share my truth, they can play it however they want to. But my job as the dealer was to let that truth go, was to release myself. And I'm really. But here it is. We're going to start cutting across the field. This has been a good show tonight. If you have not shared it, I wish you would. I really do. But here it is, because here's where the work begins. Because breaking your silence, Bradley, Kim, Suann, Randy, breaking your silence. That's not the finish line. Okay, I got somebody calling in. Let me get him on the line. Hold on. Let me get him here. Hold on, here I come. All right, Randy, you there? Nothing. Give me 1 second. Let me put you on the screen. Hold on. Let me share this. Share you here. Hold on. I almost got you on. Share screen. I'm not the most. I'm becoming more technologically savvy, but I ain't there yet. Pray for me. Oh no, here we go. That's what I want. All right, I'm gonna put Bradley on the voice on the screen, y'all. Let me know if you can hear him. What's up, Bradley? Talk to me. Bradley.
You said Bradley or Randy?
No, Randy. I'm sorry. My bad. Randy. My bad. I'm looking at the wrong name. All right, Randy, talk to us. Can y'all hear Randy? Say yes, please, if you can. Can y'all hear him?
Can everybody hear me?
I'm pretty sure they can. Go ahead.
It was just like, I'm glad you said that, telling your story and it's not about anybody else, because we had a little conversation between you and I, and I've really just gotten to the point there, after, written my book and going through my healing process of really just starting to vocalize, what I was feeling as a kid. And so I'm releasing some new podcast snippets. I had to call a couple of folks and say, hey, look, this ain't personal, but I want you to know this is how I felt.
Okay.
But this ain't got nothing to do with you, so don't get in your feelings about the way that I felt about the situation I went through. And so you just have to let people know that it ain't about you. It's about me, like you said, walking through this journey and getting my head clear, making my head space clear, so that I can put the stuff that I need to put in there and get rid of all this garbage.
Absolutely, because it's and that's okay. Randy, that's okay. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to tell somebody that they stepped on your toes and you can say ouch. Now, it's different ways to say ouch. Some people, when you step on their toe, Suann might push you off of them right quick. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else might jerk their toe right back and just say, ah. Somebody else might cuss, but it's okay to let somebody know that you were violated. It's okay.
Exactly.
And I appreciate that about you, because you have the authority. You are the one who is 100% in control of what's going on in your life. So I appreciate that comment. Did you have anything else you want to add to that?
Just remember that you're writing your own story. Do not give anyone the power to write your story.
That's good. That's good, man. I appreciate you, bro. And we look forward to collaborating real soon. Okay.
Oh, most definitely. God bless you.
Likewise. All right. I thank Randy for jumping in tonight. Anybody else want to call in? You're welcome to. But here it is. Like I said, now this is where the work begins, because breaking your silence is not the finish line. It's not the finish line. It's the starting point. And what comes next is healing, processing, rebuilding. Because here's a fun fact. Therapy and emotional expression, you know what they do? They reduce anxiety. They improve relationships. And this is the one that makes the biggest difference to me. They strengthen emotional control. I never would have thought I needed therapy, but I'm so glad I went. And I ain't gonna lie, I can't wait to get back in. So if you want to get to a point where you're better at expressing yourself emotionally, you want to reduce anxiety, improve your relationships, or strengthen emotional control, therapy might be something. You might need to go to therapy. You might need to start journaling. Or you know what you might need? Here it is. This is what you might need. Bradley, Randy, Suann, I'm gonna give y'all the formula right now. You know what you might need if you have found yourself in this position. You might just need one trusted person. You need one person who you can trust. Who all has somebody that they can trust? All right, I got another phone. Yeah, let me get this. Hold on 1 second. Let's get this call. All right, good. All right, I got Bradley on the phone. Bradley, do me a favor. Turn your volume down in the back, okay? Because I heard myself. Okay, good. All right, so let me get Bradley in here. You all. This is what I want. That's what I've always wanted. People calling. Hold on. Let me get Bradley in here. Let me stop this screen. Okay. I'm gonna get better. And listen, I'm praying that God sends me some people to be a part of this team, because I want to get to the point where all I do is talk to the camera. I want somebody else handling these phone calls and all this stuff. So y'all pray that God sends me help, okay? All right, hold on. Let me get Bradley in here and so I can get his comments. All right, Bradley, talk to us.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I was listening to the conversation tonight. It made me think of something you're touching on now, and that is healing through therapy. Sometimes we need help.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. Sometimes we need help. For example, I'll use this analogy, or when we cut our arm, we have a tragic cut on our arm. Where do we go? What do we need?
A doctor.
A doctor. Now, why do we go to that doctor?
Because he's been trained to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to get well. We go to that doctor to fix his wound. And then it takes a process, what you said earlier. I've got the cut. He fixed it. He stitched it, hypothetically, if it needed stitches. But guess what? It's got to go through a process of healing. I've got to clean the wound. I've got to give it a few days. My point is, take it step by step every day. Don't expect it to change overnight. But one step that you do make, that I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I just want to add this comment. The one step that you are overlooking is that you made the decision to change.
Absolutely.
You made the decision to release it. And that it within itself is beginning. Is step number one. So anyway, you all have a good evening. I'll keep listening, but thank you all.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for calling in. That he is absolutely right. He is absolutely right. When you start looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once you get to you got self-actualization, you have to be able to see yourself in the situation, right? You have to be able to. So if you want to start getting better, first of all, you got to see yourself better. And in order to see yourself better, you've got to see yourself in a situation where you need healing, where that was a great comment, Bradley. You have to realize that there's a deficiency, but so many of us are practitioners of self-deception. We've lied to ourselves so long, we've wore masks so long that we have assumed the alter identity that instead of our true identity. And what happens is, I ain't gonna lie, I did it. And I'm not talking, y'all see my shirt stuck on the couch. That was the name of my book. I never will forget. Viola, you heard me say it. Sue Ann, you've heard me say it. But there was a time in my life that I think I wore a mask so long, or I lived beneath my privilege for so long, that one day when I walked in the bathroom, I walked past the mirror and I had said two words. I said, "Hey, self," because I hadn't seen me in a minute. But let me get back to this. Not everybody has that one person. If you don't have that one person, you need to, and I know there's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. I get it, or whatever deity you speak to. I get it. But we need somebody on this side who we could talk to. I can tell my dad anything. Now, there was a time I was nervous because I thought he might share things, but we talked about some of those things as we gotten older. But when people bring me something, Sue Ann told y'all earlier, it's solid. Now, some of y'all that's bringing me that heavy stuff at 8 o'clock in the morning. I had a lady one day, I'm not saying her name, but she told me how she got violated as a youngster, and even in her adult life, and next thing I know, I got tears on it. Not I'm weeping. I'm not crying externally, but I'm on the inside because I hate she had to go through that. And then I just imagine, why wasn't anybody there to protect her? And if I wish I could have been there to protect her, but all those things happen when but you got to have somebody you can share. So I think I can tell you pretty much anything. I ain't never heard you. I mean, and you, yeah. Behind the mask, put it together, and you could put it together, Bradley, and you could be on the panel. How about that? Put it together, find the guests, all that. You could be on the panel if you want to. But let me ask this question, and we're about done. Do you have one safe person? Yes or no? Do you have one safe person? I had him. I had one, and I think I got some now. I think I got some. Let's look at it probably within the next couple of weeks, Bradley. Inbox me and let's put that show together, Behind the Mask, because we can definitely play off of this topic here with that topic. So you market it, you put it together, promote it, and let me know what you want out of it, and I'll host it, I'll moderate it, and we'll put that together. I won't even charge you for that. I'm joking. I am going to start charging eventually for people who want to get that little. Because I have people call me all the time trying to. But we're going to start collaborating more as God builds this team. All right. So here's the positive turn. It's still better. Remember this. Even though you can't trust certain people with your truth, it's still better to let it out than to keep it in. Tell them, Cynthia, I'll do that topic tomorrow. If it's like preaching for me. I'll do it tomorrow. Give me a text. I go with. But no, that's a real good tap. Behind the mask. Please, somebody. Yeah, we got a celebrity on tonight. Shay. Anybody? I'm sorry. Let me leave Shay alone. That's my girl from Arkansas. But listen, it's still better, even though people have hurt you when you shared your truth. Even though people tried to invalidate what you went through, it's still better to let it out than to keep it in. But you know why? Because, watch this. Because what you bury will surface. And when you bury truths that need to be let out, they begin to surface. But when they surface as anger. They surface as distance. And here's the one that surfaced when it surfaced in my life. It surfaces as shut down. Shut down. I'm going to shut down. If I don't talk, they don't know. And if they don't know, then I'm not exposed. They're just assuming. And they can assume all they want to because we know what assume means. Assume means you, me. But it's really true. Their assumption is real. Because it's going to show up, as Randy says. It's going to show up. But here's the difference. When you bury it, it surfaces as anger. It surfaces as distance. It surfaces as shutdown. But this is what happens when you release it. Y'all ready? I'm going to tell you, this is the good part. When you release it, you gain space to heal. You gain room to breathe. And here it is. You get permission to grow. Heaviness keeps us from growing because we stop living. That's why I said internalization leads to inflammation. When things start showing up in your body like arthritis and diabetes, and because you've internalized things for so long that they start to show up. And when they start showing up in your life, then you hinder your ability to grow. You want here it is. You want to go to another altitude? Let me help you. Change your attitude. If you want to go to another altitude, change your attitude. That's why if we're not communicating like we used to, I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. I can't soar with eagles if I'm hanging out with buzzards. You can't soar with eagles hanging out with buzzards. Change your attitude and watch God shift your altitude. You'll go to another level. What they say about the story about the snakes on the plane? When there are snakes on the plane, what you do is you go higher. Because when you get to a certain level, then the snakes can't handle the altitude. And they'll eventually die. It's certain people that's going to die as you. And you can't. The reason why you can't go to the next level is because you keep hanging around people. As I said earlier, you're still hanging around the kiddie pool, knowing good and well you can swim. There was a time I could dive off the diving board and let me swim underwater. I don't have the wind I used to have, but I can still flip. So I don't hang around kiddie pools. I can't let everybody in my space. But I'm breaking my silence. And you know what? I'm so healed, Shay Racy, y'all. Y'all go check out her music online. She say, if anybody. I love that song. She know that when she tell that place, it could have been me. It should have been me. I look, Shay them girls be singing that song, y'all. Look up Shay and Friends on Facebook. SHAEE though, not just SHAE. It's 2 E's. Shay Racy. Y'all look her up for real. Cynthia, y'all need to bring Shay and them to Dalton when next time y'all want a good quartet group. Now, when I tell you Shay can sing, shoot, Shay messed me up every time. That's my partner. But anyway, telling the truth, suppressing emotions leads to higher stress, depression, physical ill issues. But here's a question, and I'm closing for real. I'm about done. I only want to do an hour tonight. If you believe healing is possible, do me a favor, drop some fire in the chat. Let's burn up some of this stuff. Yeah, let's burn up some of these idiosyncrasies and these misnomers and these unwritten rules that we wrote for ourselves that we're abiding by. In fact, let's say it like the church said, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. Yeah, you go. Drop some fire in the chat. Burn that mess up. Burn that mess up. Burn it up. The devil is a lie. We're going to share our truth. We're going to break our silence. But you know what? We're not going to have, here it is, Randy, here it is. We're not going to have unrealistic expectations. Because I realize that me sharing my truth has nothing to do with you. It's all about me. I had to get it off. I had to get that weight off my shoulder. It's like, Bradley, it's like me being in LA Fitness and I'm lifting free weights, but I went in there by myself and I haven't lifted weights in years. But I tried to go up there and put $225. I hadn't done that in years, but I tried to put 225 pounds on the bar. And all of a sudden, I take it off the bar and I get it off because I ain't have to lift it far. But then I put it on my chest and I can't get it up. I can't get it up. But then somebody walks in and they put a little pressure on the bar and they help me lift it up. I got people like that in my life. I don't need people in my life that'll see me struggling and move on. But 53 has taught me. See, some of y'all say y'all got the spirit of discernment. Y'all lying. Y'all ain't got the spirit of discernment. Because if you had the spirit of discernment, you would have left them jokers a long time ago. Because when you shown enough, got it like grandmama and them had it, you'll be able to look at them and say, something off about you. That boy head ain't shaped right. What they used to say, Viola, when you walk in the house, grandmama and them say, who your people? And the reason they say who your people, because they had to know, because see, some of y'all families, y'all had crazy in your bloodline. So, and grandmama and them knew that. So they would tell you, don't hang around them folk right there. Watch the company you keep. I don't know why I'm on that tangent. But this is open mic night. You can come on, tell your truth. The phone number is right there, 404-860-2775. When you finally broke your silence, and this is, everybody's not there yet, but if you are one of those who broke your silence, what made you speak? What made you break your silence? Not only that, but what happened after you spoke up? These are some things I want y'all to ponder. And you can call in and tell me if you want to. If not, I'm gonna cut across the field and I'm gonna go to Waffle House or something. I'm hungry. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But anyway, what made you speak? That's what my dad used to say. Oh yeah, about the way somebody's head shaped. Oh yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Don't mess around and have a little cow lick. Or they had all kinds of sayings, and most of that stuff was true. Most of that stuff was true. Okay. Thank you, Randy. Randy said this is what he found happened after. He said what made his speak. He said people swear. He said he realized that it was on him to heal, and that's true. And like Bradley said, once I acknowledge that I need healing, and I mentally map out. See, what I say is, and y'all that have been rocking with me for a while, y'all know what my mantra is. My mantra is on the path to better. I'm on the path to better. I'm not completely there yet, but I'm much better than I was yesterday. And I'm a whole lot better than I was last year and way better than I was 5 years ago. I'm on the path to better, right? I had to acknowledge it. But once I acknowledge it and I decide that I want better, if part of my truth, see, earlier this year, last year, at the end of last year, I found myself going on an apology tour. I apologized to people that I despised for years. That literally got on my nerves. I apologized to people that I despised. And I mean that. I thought I hated them with a perfect hatred. But one day I was riding down the street and the Lord started moving on my heart. And I started feeling conviction. And I called that person. I hadn't talked to that person in years, but I called him. And when he started trying to talk, he said, no, Jay, you ain't got. I said, no. You can say what you got to say when I finish. But I got to get this off now while it's in my spirit. And while it was in my spirit, I said, let me say this. First of all, I want to apologize to you because I thought this way about you for years. And now I understand why. And it messed him up. But it released me. And when I told some people that I had done that, man, they were like, wow. Because they knew the disdain that I had for that person. I had it. If anything probably could have kept you out of heaven, that might have been the one that might have messed. If I was going to miss it, that might have been the one that messed me up. Real talk. Because I did not care for that individual. But when the spirit when I needed to get it off me, I apologized. And it made me, and it wasn't even for him. I'm glad he got something out of it, but it was more so for me. Y'all hear that? It was more so. So if you've been harboring something, yeah, do that. Do that. All right. So I see the phone's not ringing. I didn't put the link in the chat. I'm sorry if anybody wanted, but if anybody wants to come on, you still can. All you can do is say, James, send me the link. Otherwise, we're gonna start. We're ready to close. Ready to close. And let me say this in closing. You're so glad you got it off. It was definitely for you. You already know who I'm talking about. Viola, no. All right. So let's close. But breaking your silence is not easy. Let me say that. Let me let that land for a hot second. Breaking your silence is not easy. I'm going to say that again. Breaking your silence is not easy. It's not. It's not easy. It's not. But it's necessary. And you cannot heal from what you won't reveal. You don't have to tell everybody. But you do need to tell somebody. Thank y'all for being real tonight. And remember this, the world is changing. My question for you is, why do you remain the same? Y'all have a good night, and I'll talk to y'all next time. All right? Y'all be out. Powerful and provocative, prophetic and practical,
Have you ever found yourself?
Are you dating for that person?
informative and
I feel
inspirational.
every bit of it. Like, I'm not trying to waste my time.
How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do. Come on, let's talk about it with me, the Mind Massager.